Your one click on the subscribe button makes a huge difference. Thank you for your kind support.
Tampipi is a deeply poignant film that delves into universal themes of love, longing, fidelity, and self-discovery through the lens of cultural roots and personal conflicts. The story revolves around Pia, a seafarer's wife, whose life takes an unexpected turn when she encounters a meditation and love guru named Makoi while her husband, Francis, is away. Set in a rural Filipino town with traditional weaving and earthy landscapes as its backdrop, the film explores the deeply human experience of navigating emotional voids, desires, and choices that ultimately redefine one's sense of belonging and identity. The central character, Pia, is portrayed as a dutiful and hardworking wife, tethered to the shared but strained aspirations she has with Francis. While he is away as a seafarer, their life is sustained by Pia's efforts in operating a small weaving business, a labor-intensive craft that also serves as a metaphor throughout the film. The art of weaving becomes symbolic of the fragile and intricate bonds that hold relationships and life together. At the beginning of the film, Pia is shown tightening her weaving after her elder, Nang, advises her, mirroring how she constantly tries to hold together the threads of her relationship with Francis despite the distance and struggles. The hint of dissatisfaction in Pia's voice during her conversations with Francis, especially when he mentions that his stay will be extended by several more months, lays the foundation for the eventual emotional schism she experiences. Francis, on the other hand, embodies the archetype of an absent yet devoted provider. His work at sea reflects the sacrifice many Filipino seafarers endure to provide for their families, but it also underscores the emotional toll this takes on both partners. The couple's video calls and interactions reveal a bittersweet dynamic. On one hand, they clearly share a mutual affection, evident in their playful exchanges about junjun, a euphemism for sexual intimacy, and their longing to be together. On the other hand, underlying frustrations simmer between them, with Pia expressing doubt about Francis's commitment to their shared life ashore and Francis's own feelings of alienation, as the sea seems to hold him captive not just physically but emotionally as well. Interlaced within Pia's struggles is her encounter with Makoi. Makoi is introduced as an enigmatic figure with an aura of spiritual depth and freedom. Her role as a meditation and love guru may initially appear at odds with Pia's pragmatic life, yet she introduces Pia to a way of being that prioritizes emotional fulfillment and the embracing of desires without societal constraints. Makoi and Pia's meeting feels like destiny, as if Makoi arrives precisely at the moment when Pia is most vulnerable. Their conversations begin innocuously with discussions about daily tasks, the use of leaves for weaving, and rural life, but they subtly transition into explorations of deeper topics, such as the nature of fulfillment and the meaning of love beyond obligations. Makoi herself represents freedom, movement, and spiritual exploration, the antithesis to Francis's physical yet emotionally absent presence. Makoi symbolizes an intoxicating alternative to the rigid structures of Pia's life, providing a counterpoint to her struggles to meet the needs of both her family and herself within a traditional and patriarchal framework. Her seduction of Pia is not overtly physical at first. It starts with philosophical and emotional seduction, weaving itself into Pia's being in much the same way as the weaving of a mat, a slow but thorough process. The scenes between Pia and Makoi deftly highlight their chemistry, with Makoi often challenging Pia's worldview and encouraging her to embrace suppressed aspects of herself. As Pia becomes increasingly drawn into Makoi's orbit, her character arc takes a pivotal turn. She begins questioning her life as it was, caught between societal expectations and her own needs. This inner conflict is masterfully depicted in key scenes where Pia listens to traditional advice from Nang about resilience while simultaneously being pulled into Makoi's freer, unstructured world. The film uses symbolism prolifically in these moments. For example, the drying leaves Pia comments on represent her stagnating relationship with Francis, while her tentative weaving displays her faltering assurance in holding her life together. The inevitable shift in Pia comes to a head when her attraction to Makoi moves beyond mere intrigue. Their bond becomes intimate, and though the physicality of their relationship is significant, what truly draws Pia to Makoi is the emotional validation and sense of freedom that she provides, things Pia feels she lacks in her marriage. Makui awakens something in Pia that had long been dormant, the ability to see herself not as just a wife but as a complete person with dreams, desires, and agency. This newfound perspective leads to powerful, reflective moments, with Pia standing at crossroads both literally and figuratively, gazing into the distance with a mix of longing and fear. When Francis returns home unexpectedly, the crux of the film's tension unfolds. His arrival disrupts Pia's delicate balancing act between her commitment to him and the newfound fulfillment she experiences with Makui. Francis, eager to reconnect with his wife and make up for lost time, is oblivious at first to the changes within her. The warmth of their reunion quickly gives way to subtle but poignant moments of awkwardness and disconnect. Francis's straightforward questions about the household, Nanning's health, and the business feels sharply out of tune with Pia's inner world, which has fundamentally transformed during his absence. The film's pacing heightens as Pia struggles under the weight of her conflicting emotions. The delicate weaving of her life begins to unravel, paralleling her literal struggles with the mats she creates. Each interaction between Pia, Francis, and Makui becomes a microcosm of the larger thematic questions the film poses. What defines love? Is it duty, passion, or something else entirely? Is it better to remain in the safety of deeply rooted traditional norms or to venture into the unknown in search of personal happiness? The climax sees all three characters confronting one another in a moment of stunning catharsis. Francis discovers snippets of Pia's relationship with Makui, not through dramatic revelation but through subtle observations and small acts of carelessness on Pia's part, reflecting her internal turmoil. Rather than a shouting match or an explosive confrontation, the film opts for a hushed, emotionally charged exchange in which the character's pain is palpable. Francis's heartbreak is not only over his wife's betrayal but also over the gulf that has grown between them, one that neither his financial sacrifices nor his good intentions could bridge. Pia's tears, meanwhile, are not just for Francis but also for herself, for the person she once was and the person she could become. The ending of Tampipi is deliberately ambiguous, leaving viewers to ponder Pia's ultimate choice. The final scenes show her sitting between Francis and Makui, with both looking to her for an answer to what happens next. The camera lingers on Pia's face, with emotions flitting across her features: pain, love, confusion, and perhaps even hope. The last shot is of her hands resting on an unfinished mat, symbolic of her life's incompleteness and the choices she is yet to finalize. Thematically, Tampipi examines the intersection of traditional Filipino values and modern existential questions. It uses its characters to explore how relationships often become transactional in nature, with love being defined through sacrifice and obligation rather than emotional fulfillment. Pia's journey ultimately forces viewers to reflect on their own choices and whether they are dictated by societal expectations or personal growth. The symbolism of weaving as both a craft and a metaphor for life's complexities adds rich layers to the narrative, elevating the film to something far beyond a simple romantic drama. The ending also invites comparisons to other works in the genre, such as Wong Kar-wai's In the Mood for Love, which also explores restrained passion and the societal constraints that bind individuals. Both films make use of silence and nonverbal cues to convey powerful emotions, allowing their characters' internal struggles to resonate deeply. However, Tampipi brings a uniquely Filipino perspective, emphasizing the cultural importance of familial duty and the sacrifices inherent in overseas labor, themes that are especially relevant in a country with a significant diaspora population. Ultimately, Tampipi succeeds in being both a deeply personal story and a universal exploration of love and identity. While it does not provide easy answers, its beauty lies in its ability to provoke reflection and dialogue. By the time the credits roll, viewers are left not with the resolution of Pia's story but with the realization that life, like weaving, is about navigating imperfections, balancing tensions, and finding beauty in the incomplete.